Nike killed the Air Force One in 1984. 2 years later, a group of shoe store owners in Baltimore brought it back from the dead. They called Nike directly. They begged. They said, "If you stop making this shoe, our neighborhoods will never forgive you." Nike listened. They relaunched it exclusively through 6 Baltimore stores. The shoe that was supposed to disappear became the shoe that would never leave. This is the Nike Air Force One, the first basketball shoe ever to use Nike Air cushioning. The shoe that Baltimore saved. The shoe that hip-hop claimed. The shoe that has never, in over 40 years, left continuous production. What started as a performance basketball shoe for the 1982 season became the most enduring silhouette in sneaker history, and almost none of it was planned. By 1982, Nike owned running. Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman had built an empire on the back of the waffle sole and Steve Prefontaine. But basketball still belonged to Converse. The Chuck Taylor had been on NBA hardwood since 1923. Adidas had a foothold. Nike's basketball division was thin, under-resourced, and largely ignored by the players that mattered. Knight wanted to change that. The brief was simple: build the most technically advanced basketball shoe ever made. Not a lifestyle shoe, not a fashion piece. A pure performance tool that could compete at the highest level of the NBA. They handed the brief to a man who had never designed a sneaker. His name was Bruce Kilgore, and his background was in industrial design, satellites, aircraft components, mechanical systems. Nike thought that was exactly the right profile for what they were trying to build. Bruce Kilgore approached the Air Force One like an engineering problem, not a fashion problem. He studied how basketball players actually moved, the lateral cuts, the jumps, the hard stops. Everything about the shoe was designed to solve a specific physical challenge. The outsole was the starting point. He designed a pivoting point beneath the ball of the foot, a herringbone pattern that let players rotate without dragging. Novel in 1982. Then came the technology that would define the shoe's legacy, Sarkay. Nike Air cushioning, a pressurized gas unit inside the midsole that absorbed impact without losing its shape over time. The Air Force One was the first basketball shoe in history to use it. The name itself was a tribute, the presidential aircraft, the most powerful plane in the sky. Nike was making a statement. The upper was premium leather, structured and high. The ankle strap with the Velcro closure was functional, not decorative. The perforated toe box managed heat. The traction pattern on the sole was a direct copy of a car tire's grip geometry, and the colorway, clean white on white. Kilgore's instinct was that a premium performance shoe should look clinical, serious, technical. The triple white became the shoe's DNA and later its most iconic expression. Nike discontinued the Air Force One in 1984, 2 years of production, then out of catalog. Standard business decision for a performance shoe that had been superseded by newer models. But something unusual was happening in Baltimore. The city had fallen in love with the shoe in a way that Nike hadn't tracked or planned for. 6 independent shoe stores, including Cinderella Shoes, Charlie Rudo's, and Downtown Locker Room, were selling the AF1 at full price, no discount, with waiting lists. The store owners called Nike. They explained that in Baltimore, the Air Force One wasn't just a basketball shoe, it was a status symbol. It was called the Uptowns. Wearing a clean pair was a statement about who you were and where you stood. Nike relaunched the Air Force One in 1986 as a Baltimore exclusive. 6 stores. No national campaign. Just a city and a shoe. That regional relaunch became the seed of a global phenomenon. Baltimore didn't just save the Air Force One. It showed Nike, and the entire industry, that a shoe could mean something beyond sport. From Baltimore, the Air Force One's cultural life spread north along the East Coast. New York picked it up. Harlem called it the Uptowns. It became the shoe of the block, the barbershop, the corner. In 2002, Nelly crystallized what everyone already knew. His single Air Force Ones featuring Ali Kaijuan and Murphy Lee, went to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. It sold 4 million copies. It was the first song in history dedicated entirely to a specific sneaker. The chorus wasn't subtle. I need 2 pairs so I can get to stomping. It wasn't a metaphor. It was a declaration. Jay-Z had already been wearing them for years. Cameron, Jadakiss. The shoe moved through hip-hop not as a product placement but as a genuine cultural artifact. The shoe you wore because it meant something in your world, not because Nike told you to. By the mid-2000s, the Air Force One had completed a journey that no performance shoe had made before it. From NBA hardwood in 1982 to Baltimore corner stores in 1986 to the defining shoe of hip-hop culture by 2002. And it had done it without a single celebrity endorsement deal. The AF1's clean white silhouette made it the perfect blank canvas. Every collab started from the same place, a white leather shoe with a simple iconic geometry. What you did with that canvas was the statement. Supreme's AF1 collab started in the early 2000s and never stopped. Box logo on the heel, premium materials, limited quantities, each one a collector's piece. In 2018, Virgil Abloh's off-white collab brought high fashion to the silhouette, deconstructed laces, Helvetica text, the signature zip tie. The shoe that Bruce Kilgore designed as a pure engineering object was now appearing in Fashion Week presentations alongside luxury houses. Travis Scott's collab introduced the reverse swoosh logic he had already applied to the Jordan 1 and sold out globally in minutes. To date, Nike has produced the Air Force One in over 1,700 colorways. Not 1,700 pairs, 1,700 distinct colorways. More than any other silhouette in Nike's history. The shoe that was designed in one colorway has become the most chromatically diverse sneaker ever made. Bruce Kilgore designed the Air Force One in 1982 to solve a basketball problem. He wasn't thinking about hip-hop. He wasn't thinking about Baltimore. He was thinking about pivot points and impact absorption. And yet what he built, that clean, structured, honest silhouette, turned out to be exactly what street culture needed. A shoe that was premium without being flashy, technical without being cold, white without being delicate. The Air Force One has been in continuous production since its 1986 relaunch. That is longer than most people watching this have been alive. It has survived the Jordan era, the running shoe boom, the Yeezy decade, and the chunky dad shoe trend without ever losing its identity. It is the best-selling Nike shoe of all time by total units. Some years, it is the best-selling shoe of any brand. Which AF1 colorway is your personal grail? The OG Triple White, a Supreme collab, the Off-White, or something else entirely? Drop it in the comments. And if you want the full story of the next shoe that changed culture, subscribe. We're just getting started.